What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Auerbach Report, episode 1. That's a new one. I thought for sure I was going to say Pesky Report when the whole intro was going on. I'm like, I'm going to screw this up. But no, this is the Auerbach Report, kind of a subset of Pesky. It's our Celtics podcast, if you haven't guessed already. I'm Jordan, joined by Jamie and Jack. Boys, how we doing?
I'm more fired up after that intro. That got me going right there.
There was a severe lack of RJ Lewis in it, though. And as the season progresses, that's going to change.
That's going to change. We're going to maybe get some Wendell Moore in there, especially if he keeps dunking on people like he did in the preseason game last night. But yeah, it's a very interesting season to start a Celtics podcast because the sky is falling. They traded all their good players. Their best player is on the shelf for at least the next, 5 months, 6 months? Can't do math. 5 months until March. And there's a lot of people who think that this team's going to be terrible this season. We'll get into all of that, all the subtractions, the few additions that were made, the brief but tumultuous tenure of Georges Niang in Boston. And then we'll talk about just, where we think the Celtics are going to finish over the course of the season. We'll get into all of that. This is kind of a off-season review, preseason review, season preview, all wrapped into one. I promise it won't be 3 hours long. It may sound like it will be, but it won't be. I promise. Hold me to that. If it gets even to like an hour and a half, start yelling at me. But yeah, I'm excited to chop it up with you boys. It's gonna be fun. No matter what, no matter how the season goes, it'll be fun to talk ball with you guys. But yeah, without further ado, let's rock and roll and talk about some of the subtractions from last year. I'm going to kick it to you, Jack, first. As far as all the subtractions go, which one do you think the Celtics are going to miss the most?
That's honestly a difficult question. I've been thinking about it for a lot of the day because I feel like it's between two guys realistically. And it depends on which version of Kristaps Porzingis exists moving forward. Because if Kristaps Porzingis is good at basketball, which he probably will be, of course he was not in the postseason. It was one of the weirdest, terrible things I've ever witnessed, seeing Porzingis try and play basketball this spring. But if Kristaps is a 20-8 guy who's efficient as hell and gives you the pick and roll, pick and pop stuff and is a menace blocking shots, yeah, you're going to miss having that presence in there, especially because without Tatum this year, you're going to want scoring, and him and Jalen have that chemistry established. They're best friends off the court. And if you had both of those guys plus D White plus Pritchard, it would be like, okay, the points are still going to happen. And they probably still will, but I'd feel better with Porzingis. The other answer is weirdly Kornet. It's like, because once Porzingis went down or was still there, but terrible, Luke Kornet was suddenly the only NBA caliber big man on the roster. Horford was showing his age as the season progressed, and he would still have flashes and moments, but Tillman was kind of unplayable for a lot of last season. Kata was still very raw, fouling too much. Kornet kind of just showed up and was really good and keeps getting better every single season. His progression could have improved even more. I think with a healthy Jayson Tatum, my answer would be Kornet, because you'd get that screen action, him as a dunker. A lot of stuff Kornet was providing you. I don't see who's going to give you that on this roster. But gun in my head, I'm still taking Kristaps. Maybe I'm just biased because I also just loved Kristaps, but I think it's Porzingis.
Yeah, I was torn as well between two guys as well, because I'm really a big proponent of Peyton Pritchard coming off the bench and being that kind of spark plug. Although with Anthony Simons in the mix now, maybe you can kind of, just kind of shift everybody over a spot, and Simons becomes Pritchard. Pritchard becomes, the starting point guard, which it looks like he's going to be. I think Mazzulla's all but said that in media sessions throughout camp. But I think Drew Holiday is going to be a pretty big miss, even though last year he also started to show his age, dealt with the mallet finger, which turned into the great Dr. Evil celebration whenever he did decide to make a three-pointer, which was rare after he got hurt. But just that leadership, he's won 2 championships, he's won gold medals, and he's just a very decorated player. They very much respected him. And yeah, maybe part of it is seeing what happened with Kristaps and like knowing that it's kind of the book of his career is show a ton of promise early in his stint with whatever team he's on. It's been now this is his 5th team of his career. And then by the time he leaves, people hate him. Maybe not his teammates. Sometimes it was his teammates. Maybe not his teammates in this case, but the fan base certainly turned on him pretty quickly. And Lord only knows what it was that was like causing him to be terrible because he was sick, missed a ton of time because he was sick, came back, was fine the rest of the regular season, and then once the playoffs started, his illness of whatever fashion it was decided that it wanted to come back and kill him because he was so bad in the playoffs. So maybe it's just recency bias that it's not Porzingis for me. Drew Holiday's also been one of my favorite players long before he was a Celtic. Pretty much the second he got out of Philly and I could start liking him, he became one of my favorite non-Celtics. And I have his jersey. But for me, it's Drew. And it got you Anthony Simons, but I still loved Drew and kind of everything that he was about. Even when he wasn't scoring, he was still doing all those little things. And I don't know if I trust certain guys to decide, hey, I can't make a shot tonight, so I'm going to stop shooting. Anthony Simons, not going to happen. He's basically going to he's going to be the primary source of offense off the bench, so he's going to have to shoot. And Pritchard, I've never seen him pass up a shot. Like he's never found a shot he didn't like in his career. Now he hits them at a very good rate historically, but I don't know what starter Pritchard's going to look like, and it kind of scares me. Jamie, who's the big subtraction for you this from this past offseason?
Mine would probably be Holiday and Horford, just because of the leadership they both bring, especially kind of Jack talked about, but the hit they took with their big man, with Cornette being gone too. And even though Al showed his age, just not having kind of that veteran presence, especially with like what he did in the playoffs. I think Drew just did so much off the court, especially defensively. They're going to miss that. They both showed their age, but I just feel like that's a lot of leadership and veteran presence to kind of, be missing and kind of have to move on from it in one offseason.
Yeah, because who really replaces it? Like on the roster, Jaylen Brown, I think, they kind of decided he's the veteran leader. I mean, he has to be, right? Is he the oldest dude on the roster right now?
I think, yeah, I
I
think
think he
so.
is. And he's
Yeah.
still under 30, right? And there's got to be somebody older than him, right? Is anybody older than Jaylen? Who?
Boucher is 32.
Oh, right, Boucher.
And then Derek White's 31. And then Jaylen at 28.
So they're still fairly young as a team. Yeah, Jaylen being the veteran leader of the group. He's been around the longest of anybody. So it's going to be interesting to see, especially somebody like Jaylen. Like if Tatum was playing, like I trust that Tatum can be that veteran presence on the floor, off the floor. Jaylen, I trust can be that off the floor. Somebody like him on the floor is it'll be very interesting to say the least of a Jaylen run team for 60 some odd games before Tatum might be back. How do we feel like Jaylen's going to do as the number one of this team? Would like wins and losses be damned? How is he going to do now that he has to become the de facto Jayson Tatum of the team?
I'm excited to kind of see how that plays out. I feel like that's one storyline that would just be fun to see, being in that role. I'm interested to see like how it gets up his scoring, his leadership, and just especially when there's going to be some bumps early on that they're going to have to navigate. And it's basically going to be him and Derek White as the toolless guys. They're going to have to push them through that. So I'm just excited to see how he takes on that challenge, because it can be big, especially the last couple of years. People talk about they need both Brown and Tatum and how they work together. I think it's going to be fun. It's unfortunate why we're going to have to see it, but I'm excited to see how he answers that call and kind of steps up.
Jack, what do you think?
I mean, I'm not concerned about the scoring. I'm not. Like, we've seen Jaylen, even when Tatum's been healthy, before they added all these guys, be like a 26 point per game guy. Now he's not going to have Tatum there anymore and is going to be the primary guy. I don't think it's completely out of the realm of possibility Brown wins a scoring title this year. It's not out of the realm. I don't think it's like the likeliest outcome by any means, But could Jaylen Brown average 30 points a game this season? Completely. And when he's playing smart basketball, he can score just as easy as any player in the league. When he just, like, I was at the game, I think it was 2 years ago against San Antonio, and Tatum was out that night. And that's when, like, Jaylen scored, I think it was like 50 something. And then, like, there was the whole gate over him not, like, respecting the crowd, which was like the most manufactured controversy ever. But in a game like that, it just became so apparent being there. Like, he makes it so easy when he just attacks the basket. He's so athletic. And, you know, when he falls into the jump shot, that's where it can get ugly with Jaylen, because he's not the best shooter ever. He's not a terrible shooter, but you don't want Jaylen chucking 10 threes a game. And if that's the version of Jaylen we get this season, it could get ugly. But if he limits it to like 7 threes a game and he's taking good shots and then passing out of it to hit White in the corners, Pritchard in the corners, I think Jaylen can have a very, very good season this year.
Yeah, where I am curious to see how Jaylen develops is he's 28 years old. So he's, year 8 of his career, 9 of his career. Is how is he going to handle being the playmaker? Like he can't play off ball. And I know he played a lot on ball, even with Tatum healthy, but he's not going to be playing off the ball like pretty much at all this season for the most part. He'll probably have the ball most of the time. I know Pritchard is a guy that's pretty ball dominant as well when he's on the floor, but Jaylen's going to command the ball. How is he going to be able to play make? And also, do we even want him to play make? That's the question. I love Jaylen in his own right. Like he's like that buddy from high school that frustrates the hell out of you like 95% of the time, but you love him like dearly, like a dear friend, but he pisses you off. What Jaylen is a playmaker. I'm just worried for that first. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen like 6 minutes into the game. 1-on-4 fast break. He jumps to make a pass after realizing that he can't score on 4 guys, and then throws it right to the other team, and they get a 3 off of it. And I know it's going to happen. It's part of the bumps and bruises of him becoming like the guy. But I just wonder how bad that's going to be, how detrimental that'll be to them winning. Granted, I think the guard play of this team is stupid. Like they're so talented in the backcourt that, and we'll get into the front court issues, quote unquote issues later on. They're going to score a crap ton of points. Like Mazzulla ball is going to be at an all-time high. Like Joe's probably not wanted a center on this team since he took over a couple years ago, and he's going to get his wish this year, and they're going to shoot a ton of threes. Like you thought 50 threes was like the benchmark. They're going to be shooting like 60, 65 triples a couple of times this year. They're going to shoot, and that's going to be how they have to win games. And I really do think they're going to win more than people think just on the heels of their guard play. But Jaylen as a playmaker is something that I'm watching like a hawk, and I am nervous, but I'm watching. I will be there to watch. I just don't know how well it'll go. I'm also curious.
Who they could pass it to.
They could pass it to Mr. Josh
Minot too.
They could. So we may as well talk about some of the additions. Now, there was a lot of them, but not like a ton of splashy ones. And by a ton of splashy ones, I mean there were none. There were no splashy ones. I mean, we got Josh Minot, Luka Garza, Chris Boucher, who like might be the best of the bunch. And then the draft class as well.
Will Simons.
Yeah, Anthony Simons is probably, I'd consider him a splash, but it also came at the expense of Drew Holiday. So if we can talk about some of the additions, I'll lead off with
5 minutes of Niang.
Yeah, I could not. Celtics Twitter was really weird about that trade, or about that tenure. I guess you can even call it that. It was longer than Melo's with the Hawks. That's all I can say about Georges Niang's tenure with the Celtics. But like he grabbed Jaylen's knee that one time, and it was a dirty play, like from the bench, dirty play. People could have probably let that go, and like it had been multiple years. But he also was such a dick. He was so he was an ass. Like I get playing the villain. That's fun. Play the villain. Not with your own fan base.
That was bold. That was a bold move.
That was a very bold move. It got him out of Boston, though, and I think that might have been his ultimate goal. Although he's a local dude, right? So,
Yeah, the
like,
pride of Lawrence.
the pride of Lawrence, and he's, like, actively trying to get himself banished from the city of Boston, and, like, it worked. Bold strat, but it paid off for him in the end. Yeah, but as far as additions go, I think the one I'm the most excited about, and Jamie already mentioned him, I'm very excited about Josh Minot. I think of all these dudes that are going to factor into the front court, I think he has that kind of balance of athleticism with some outside promise. I don't think he's really going to light the world on fire from the outside as far as shooting standpoint, but he's very athletic. He's very awkward in how he moves, but I think that's like kind of appealing. I think he kind of I don't know, just the way he moves, the way his IQ, his shooting, I think he's going to factor into this rotation. Maybe not a ton right off the jump, but I do think he's going to become a very pivotal part of this rotation as we get to like late November, early December, and then he may. I don't think he'll start. Like it's not going to be like Noah Vonleh getting the opening night start a couple of years ago, but he's gonna be an important piece of this puzzle. And I didn't think that when they signed him, mostly because I didn't really know who he was. Um, Jamie, who do you think is going to be the big addition of this off or sorry, who of the offseason additions is the one you're the most excited about?
I'm probably going with Simmons. I feel like the role he's going to get to play, I feel like he's going to have like a big scoring role with this team, especially with how the rotation is going to factor out. So I'm just excited to see how he, especially how they work him and Pritchard into the rotation. But I feel like he's going to get a lot of chances to score, a lot of chances to shoot. So I'm excited to see what he does.
Jack, who do you think is going to be the biggest addition of the offseason?
I think just purely from a production standpoint, it probably does just end up being Simons, just because with Pritchard now being the starting point guard, and you look at the bench crew, it's like this is ugly. I mean, Hauser is obviously going to figure in there, and obviously you added Boucher, but I mean, you're going to need a spark plug. You're going to need a guy who can consistently get you 15 to 18 points a night off the bench. And Simons has shown like he can be a very dominant like shooter, and he's a ball dominant player. That's fine with this bench rotation because and even with this roster, because beyond Jalen and Pritchard, there aren't many ball dominant guys. You lost Tatum for X amount of time. Porzingis is gone. So you don't have guys who you need to feed the ball anymore. He can, the efficiency has consistently stayed there, at least on a 3-point level with Simons his whole career. I mean, he's a career 38% shooter from three on, like he takes 9 or so a game for the past like 4 or 5 years. So if he's producing that off the bench, that's going to be massive for this team.
They love to get that one flamethrower every single offseason that doesn't play a lick of defense and comes off the bench. Like it was, although when they got Brogdon, I think everyone thought he was going to be 3-and-D, and then he just wasn't. All he did was score, but he did win 6th man of the year. So I mean, they're very consistent about making sure they have the 6th man of the year on the roster.
Sometimes they extend them way before they become 6th man of the year.
That is true. That was an unreal extension from Brad Stevens, Peyton Pritchard. Now you're starting point guard making
your 2-time trade request. You're to starting point guard.
That is true. He did request out, and then he decided to score like 20 against Portland. Because I get that he's from there. Does he like hate the Blazers for not drafting him? Because he sees red when he faces Portland. And like I'm sure Anthony Simons is glad to be seeing him from like the same, he's benefiting from Peyton Pritchard killing the Blazers now. Although he's killing him in practice as well, which probably doesn't make him feel any better. Although it'll be cool to see how Simons factors in. I don't know who else on the bench is really going to be counted on for scoring. Like we're really talking Simons and then
Hauser.
Well, isn't Hauser going to start?
Is he?
The lineup's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Like that's
how Joe gets creative with that is going to be fun to see. I feel like especially like the first 10 games while they're kind of tinkering before they get to a set, like that's going to be an interesting process.
Yeah, I think it was the year, was it the first year of Kyrie when they were starting Morris some games and Baines other games? Or was
Yeah.
that year 2?
Yep.
I think it was year 1. So it might be something like that. Like Boucher got the start the other night against Cleveland. Are we going to see some games? I mean, Hauser also started that game. So it's going to be, I'm really curious to see how they attack the starting lineup, because I felt like the assumption was that Cato was just going to be the center just because he's been a Celtic for a
Yeah.
while. And I don't know if I really want that to happen. I don't know. I love Nimi, but I feel like the more he plays, the worse he is. Like he's really good in spurts. Like if they wanted to Amir Johnson him, I think I talked about this with my buddies the other night. Um, if they want to Amir Johnson him and he plays like the first 9 minutes of the game and then we don't see him till the first 9 minutes of the second half and then we don't see him again, like I think he'd be really effective in those 18 minutes. But the problem is if he starts and he plays like 25 to 30 minutes a night, he's going to get run off the floor sometimes. And I don't know.
But the alternatives are Garza and Tillman. So we're
Yep.
kind of in hell.
Or small ball. I mean,
Yeah.
this was a question that I asked my friends the other night, and I'm curious what you guys think as well. How many teams out there do the Celtics really need a center to play against? Like I don't like Giannis
Well,
is
are
going to
we
kill them
assuming
anyway.
Joel Embiid is alive?
Yeah, but Joel Embiid got bitched by Ennis Freedom, so like I don't
That's true.
That's
like
true.
you stick mine on him and he'll have him in Alcatraz, but like Giannis is going to kill them regardless. He always has. Not having a center has never prevented Giannis from getting his against Boston. Like Jokic is Jokic. He's going to kill them too because that's what he does. He's the best
Yeah.
player in the league or best center in the league. Like Chet probably, but you play them twice a year.
Yeah.
Towns, but he's not really a bruiser. It might
No.
actually be beneficial to have an athlete that can guard him at the perimeter. So you don't really need a big for him. Like Siakam, same thing. Miles Turner, same thing, kind of, although he's a little bit more of a bruiser. But I don't really think there's a whole lot of. I
Yeah,
mean, and
he's
that's
just an alien, so there's no stopping that anymore.
yeah. So like, I don't know. I don't really think there's a whole lot of teams where that center problem is going to get exposed, because when you had a center, the teams that had elite centers killed you anyway. Jakob Poeltl is going to go for 40 and 20 when the Celtics play Toronto. Like that's going to happen, and I've accepted that. But it's happened already with them having centers.
But I will say that I think that's where the Tatum injury gets really bad, is that you kind of got away with a lot of bad habits because you had Jayson Tatum, especially the fact that Tatum was consistently the only guy who cared about getting rebounds on the entire roster. Now it's like, where are those going to come from? Because he seemed to be like the only one who actually wanted them. And now I'm a little afraid of what the board situation will look like when it already didn't look good when you had him.
Yeah, Pritchard might lead the team in boards this year.
Which is scary.
It's horrifying. But he does want rebounds. The only problem is he's 6 feet tall. So I don't know how many he's gonna get. It'd be kind of funny if Joe adopted the strategy that he's been deploying in the preseason, where you give up an offensive rebound, you are coming out of the game. And that might honestly be how they roll with the big situation for a bit while they find somebody to play. And that's why I think, to your earlier point, Jack, Cornette is going to be a huge miss, because he'd be starting for this team, and
No questions asked.
And he'd be like the easiest, like hashtag not betting advice, but 14 and 8 probably every single night. And obviously the vibes as well that he carries. Like this is going to be like, rebounding is going to be probably how guys like Baylor Shireman play. Like go get rebounds and then try not to, stumble all over yourself on offense, which he will probably do as well. But like Baylor definitely is somebody that'll attack the glass. It's just, I don't know how beneficial it'll be to have him out there.
Just
So,
pass
at,
as soon as he gets the rebound.
Yeah, but then the problem is he might get the ball again. And I don't like what I've seen from him in the front court. In the backcourt, whatever. Like you get the rebound, you pass it to somebody else. Just don't throw it to the other team. Well, you get the ball in the front court, he might shoot the ball, and I don't know if I want to see that too much. I thought he was going to be so much better than he is.
Yeah, same. I
Yeah.
was very high on the pick. And he had flashes last season where it was like, okay, I see the vision here. And then like as the season progressed, it just kind of got worse and worse.
Yeah, and then in summer league he was pretty bad. Like he was
Yeah, and then
one
he's
of
been really bad in preseason.
Yeah, so I
But
don't.
preseason basketball also just isn't real. So maybe it's all fake. And maybe it'll
Yeah,
be
Carson
fine.
Edwards had like a 7-3 quarter once. So
Right. So it's like basketball is the sport where preseason matters the least as far as I'm concerned. Like it's all made up. But you definitely don't want to see a guy going through that at the moment, especially a guy who was a first round pick and you wanted to contribute.
yeah, because I mean, it's maybe being a little too dramatic to compare it to the Patriots with their first round pick situation. But like when you spend a shit ton of money and you have to offload contracts, it'd be nice if your first round picks were pretty good or at least like okay. And I don't know if Shireman is even okay. And Jordan Walsh, I know he was a second round pick, and like the value wise, he was rated as like a top 25 guy in the draft. He went like 32nd or like 34th or something like that. So, but he's not very playable. Another dude who'd be out there just for rebounding purposes as well. Xavier Tillman is going to probably get a lot of burn early in the season as well. He's lost a ton of weight. Like he looks great. He had knee surgery. But yeah, like you said, Jack, the board situation is going to be very interesting to put it kindly. I don't know where boards are coming from. Minot might factor into that a lot as well because he's 6'9" or 6'10", so he's a freak. But you still got to come down with the ball, and I don't know. I've seen a lot of people talk up Luka Garza. I don't see it either. It's gonna be interesting.
He was so
to
good
see.
in college, though.
He was.
He was so good at Iowa.
Remember when the Nationals brought him out to throw out the first pitch this year? And I didn't know he was from the area.
Yeah.
I thought it was just because he was like the same height as James Wood. Like I really thought that was it. Because they stood next to each other. I'm like, oh, is this just to like show how tall James Wood is? Like I didn't know that 6'7" is gigantic. And no,
Like,
he's
we
from
gotta
DC.
find the one guy.
Yeah, gotta find the one guy. And they're like, oh, Luka Garza's probably not doing anything today. I think he was jobless at the time. Or no, he was on the Celtics. He was already signed by the Celtics. That's the only reason I knew he threw out the first pitch.
He certainly wasn't getting an offensive rebound.
No, he wasn't. And I feel like Luka Garza looks kind of like Drew Carter a little bit. Like I could see them being related.
I see it.
He might play like him too. I don't know. I've never seen Drew play. Never seen Drew play. But we've talked a little bit about some of the subtractions, some of the additions. I'm curious where we think that this team's actually going to be when the time comes. Like we're in March, Tatum's coming back. Is this team worth Tatum coming back? And if so, like where you have them seated? And I mean, if you want to expand and go with who you have above them, so be it. If you have them 12th, I can do the math. That's pretty much every team in the Eastern Conference. I don't need to hear it. But Jamie, where do you think the Celtics are when Tatum is chomping at the bit to come back? Which I still think there's he's still probably trying to play opening night because that dude's an insane individual. But where do you think they are come March?
I could see him like 9. Like I feel like they could be on the verge of the playoffs because I just don't think the East is that strong. Like I could see them kind of hanging around like 8, 9 spot, and then maybe like Tatum comes back and kind of pushes them. I think if they were to sneak into the playoffs, it's not going to be a deep run, but I could see them kind of hanging around and kind of making it interesting, or at least being one of those annoying teams down the stretch that's kind of pissing off everyone else in the in a playoff spot. Or it could end up being like really bad and we're just like lottery pick and we're just not thriving at the end of the year.
It'll be very funny when the 11 seed Boston Celtics bring Tatum back in March and they are like beating 1 seeds and really fucking with the playoff positioning in the Eastern Conference. Jack, where do you think the Celtics are?
I don't know if I'm just an optimist or, a blind fan or whatever it is. The East sucks. Like, if this team was in the Western Conference, I'd be like, yeah, this isn't going to happen. There's too many good teams. You got Denver, you got Oklahoma City, you got all these teams. It's like, it's not going to happen. You look at the East, and it's like, yeah, the Knicks are going to be good again, probably. Like, we don't know what the coaching situation looks like at all without Tibbs, but you assume the Knicks are going to be good. The Cavs are going to be good again. I like Orlando getting Desmond Bane, and they're a good team on the rise. And it's like, beyond that, I'm like, who am I supposed to fear in this conference? Like, the Sixers aren't real. Like, I'll believe the Sixers are real when I see it. Like, all those guys are constantly hurt. McCain just broke his hand again or something, so he's not going to be out there. Embiid will play like 12 games. Paul George will play 7. So I'm not freaking out about them. And then it's like, okay, Atlanta's probably better than you, assuming Porzingis exists, which that I will assume happens. Like, okay, yeah, with Trae Young and oh my God, the guy who should have won Defensive Player of the Year. I'm blanking on his name.
Dyson Daniels.
Yeah, Dyson Daniels and Porzingis. It's like, okay, that's a real team. Milwaukee will probably be better than you just by the virtue of having Giannis, so long as Giannis doesn't leave, which still could happen. Like, that seems like that's still on the table. So it's like, and then like,
well, they just signed his brother. His other
Did
brother.
you see that Sentinel tweet? That was Russell Westbrook has changed his last name to Antetokounmpo. That killed me. That was one of the funniest Sentinel tweets I've ever seen. Like, that had me laughing out loud reading that tweet. But it's like the East is bad. Like, this team could very conceivably be like the 5 or 6 seed just by virtue of the East really sucking. And there's plenty of problems with this team, as established. The rebounding, the depth, seeing what Jalen as the primary ball handler looks like. But it's like you're in a conference that has the Nets and the Hornets and the Wizards. Like, what are we supposed to do? Like, we're still way better than those guys, or like the Bulls. Toronto.
Yeah, the Bulls are going to be the 10 seed because they don't know how to tank and they don't know how to get better. They just stay as the 10 seed.
Yeah, it's like
every year.
Halliburton's out, so that sinks a lot of Indiana. Like, yeah, Indiana would be better than you with Halliburton, but they don't have him and Miles Turner left, so they're probably somehow worse than you. So it's like, this team's going to make the playoffs. Like, it's not going to be pretty a lot of the time, but they're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think this team, like I said earlier, I kind of alluded to it. They're going to win a lot of games this year because, like, I've seen some people flash the record like 36 and 46. That's like, let's be realistic here. They're going to be better than that. They're not going to be a 500 team. I think they probably win somewhere between 45 and 48 games, which in this conference might be the 4th seed. I'm not joking. It might be. And then you have Tatum back, and who knows what he looks like when he comes back. I assume there's going to be a ton of rust. Does he ever shake that rust in this season? That kind of determines how far, air quotes, how far you go in the playoffs. My optimism, I'll temper my own optimism, and I'll say that they'll be the 6th seed when Tatum returns in March, which I still think will be everyone's talking about it the day after his birthday. They're home against Charlotte. That'll be the day he returns. I think it's March 4th. It's early March. But as far as teams better than the Celtics, I think the Knicks are going to be the 1 seed because they just, like, for some stupid reason, kind of have the best roster in the conference. Like, they're kind of like, it's kind of dumb. Their roster is stacked. They are very good. I think they'll be the 1 seed. But also because they're the Knicks, that also means they'll be the 3 seed instead of the 1 seed. But I do think talent-wise, they're the best team in the Eastern Conference. Cleveland right up there with them, 1 and 2. And then 3rd is like this is where it gets kind of weird. Like, I think Atlanta probably, if Porzingis is like a functioning human being this season, that's probably the 3 seed.
I still like Orlando,
is Atlanta.
but yeah, them
or Orlando. Orlando 4, and then the Pistons 5. But like those are gonna be the 5 teams that I think are definitively better than the Celtics. And then 6, 7, 8 is take your pick of Milwaukee, Boston, and Indiana, and Miami. So whoever. So
And I
that'll be
guess
6
the
through 9, and
Sixers
then
if they
10 is the
play, but
Bulls.
they're not going to play.
No, I think the Sixers are. We're talking like Embiid getting dealt kind of bad. I think they're going to suck again, and I think they're going to have to find somebody that's willing to take Embiid off their hands, even if it means getting like Vucevic retired, right? So never mind. Or did he retire from international play? I don't remember what the tweet was, but I remember people were very pissed off about how it was spun. But they're going to end up getting some jabron who's making a
Dalton
shit ton of
Connect.
money. Yeah, they'll get Dalton Connect. They'll get DeAndre Ayton for him. And yeah, I just think conservatively speaking, I think the Celtics will probably be in the 6th seed. And then Tatum comes back, and they, depending on how far away they are from the 4, if they're within 3 games of the 4 seed, Tatum coming back and just simply being on the floor will push them to extra wins. Because at the very least, he'll rebound, he'll pass. His IQ is not going to leave him. The shot might for a little bit. The hesitation on, like, he probably won't try and go downhill very much. Although the way he's moving in his like videos, granted, there's nobody guarding him. Kind of lends me to believe that he might just be insane and like come back and drop like 30 in his first game back. Kind of like that. Kind of like when Zion missed like 7 months because he was fat, and then came back and dropped like 28 and a quarter, and then got yanked and then continued to be fat and stopped playing for like 4 more years. But yeah, I think the Celtics will probably be around the 6th seed when all else plays out. I think they'll evade the play-in tournament. And like I said, the 10 seed is already reserved for the Bulls. Like, that's free money if you want to bet on that. Like, that is gambling advice. Bet the Bulls to finish in the 10 seed.
Yeah. Well, I feel like too, kind of like we talked about, like if you're gonna miss Tatum for an extended time, like this is the year with how bad the East is out of like 4 teams.
Yeah, it's really, and it'll be interesting to see too how they play the deadline, because like as fun as Simons will probably be, because he'll put some butts in seats because he is an exciting player to watch, even if he's coming off the bench. Is he even here no matter how they're doing come the deadline? I don't really think he is. I think they might trade him for a big, which lends me
And do
into
they even
Walker
believe in
Kessler
having
dialogue.
bigs?
Do they believe in having bigs? I mean, if the small ball thing's working, like, do they bring Tatum back and he's your center? Like, who knows? I mean, he
Could be
basically
Chris Sale.
erased. Could be Chris. It could be Chris Sale. We haven't thought about. He is tall enough to, well, at least play in the front court in the NBA. So
He's lanky enough too to box people out.
he is. He is fragile enough to be the only person more injured on the Celtics than Tatum as well. But I mean, Tatum did erase the front court for the Mavericks in the finals 2 years ago. I don't think it is out of the realm of possibility that for 2025-26, Jayson Tatum comes back and plays a lot of center,
No, I don't either.
especially because it'll keep him from like having to guard on the perimeter a shit ton,
Yeah.
and
That's not
that'll
a
probably
working
help.
way.
Yeah. But again, he's insane. He like I'm already ready for like November 15th. I don't know if they're playing that day. Just throwing a date out there where I see the injury report. It's like Jayson Tatum ruptured Achilles, probable. I'm like, what?
It'll be
What
that
the
November
fuck?
3rd game. It'll be the Utah game. He's playing.
It'll be the Utah game. This is why that game's caught my attention. It's not because of Walker Kessler. It's not because the tickets are cheap. It's because that's actually the day Jayson Tatum comes back.
Disrespecting Lauri Markkanen.
Lauri Markkanen, also potential future Celtic. Probably not. I've never seen somebody more traded than Lauri Markkanen. He's already
Without
been
ever
traded
being-
twice, but I feel like the Jazz have traded him like 9 times and he's still here. Like, he's still there. Like, I remember
Every
like
time
Golden
they
State was,
called him to tell him he's been traded, he was like, "Nah, I'm good."
it's like, nah, I like Utah for whatever reason. He really likes, I mean, some people are just cut out for being the best player on a crappy team. I think Jazz Chisholm is going to do that in the MLB at some point. He's just going to like take the bag from Colorado and be their franchise's best player ever. So it could be a trivia question.
Pull a Chris Bryant. Signed like
Yeah,
10
except I
years
think
ago.
Jazz would actually be very good for them. Like I think I genuinely, I know this is not baseball, not a baseball pod, but I do this on the Pesky Report all
But
the
the
time.
Jazz are a basketball team.
But
True.
the Jazz are a basketball team. Yeah, exactly. The Utah Jazz Chisholm. I totally see him being like the best player in that franchise's history, and like that's his calling.
He arguably could have been the best Marlin in franchise history had they not traded him. Like that.
Yeah, because Mickey wasn't there long enough.
Yeah.
Stanton wasn't there long enough. Yelich wasn't there long enough. It's
Yeah, and then
Ozuna from the
obviously
Braves wasn't there long enough.
And like that was clearly going to be the answer.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're all kind of in the same ballpark. They're going to be around the play-in tournament, but also like the East is terrible. So we did a roundabout a way of not answering the question while also answering the question. But it'll be a fun year. I think it'll be a good experience, like kind of seeing it. I think one of the best storylines of this season is going to be seeing how Joe Mazzulla adapts as a coach, because he's never had a bad team. And I don't think this team's bad, but he's never had like a deeply flawed roster. Even year one, like he had to deal with Rob being hurt all year, but like so did Ime, so did Brad Stevens. Like nothing new there. That team was very talented. Probably should have made the NBA title or made the finals. Didn't, because Miami was just devil magic like crazy, as they often are. Year two, they obviously won the title, but with a super team.
I'm trying to sleep. Like
that dude, that pissed me off.
And then they were
said
so
many
memes.
Yeah, it all their luck ran out. I can't believe people don't try to minimize Jokic's ring the way they do Tatum. Like he faced the 8 seed in the finals.
He faced Caleb Martin.
He faced Caleb Martin and Michael Jordan's kid, Jimmy Butler. Just
Duncan Robinson in a dream.
Yeah, like 1% chance, 99% faith, Miami Heat. And yeah, like he didn't, and I felt like, unless I'm misremembering that run, the Nuggets faced teams that were hurt all that whole path too. So their path to the finals was very similar to the Celtics, except the Celtics faced Luka and Kyrie in the finals, and Jokic faced Jimbo Butler and fucking Duncan Robinson. Like, why don't people hate on the Nuggets ring as much? I mean, I guess it's easier to,
because Jokic has aura.
True.
Does he? I think his lack of aura is kind of what makes him endearing. Like he hates basketball. He treats basketball like most people treat working at a fast food joint. It's like it pays the bills, but I'd rather be at home with my goats. Like, fair enough. Same here. With me my entire high school.
I feel like even after one of the titles, his interviews were like, "Yeah, this is cool. Happy to be here."
Yeah, like best player in the world, but he hates that so much. He'd much rather have like fizzled out like the average second round pick and already been back home, not playing basketball, or playing basketball back home instead of in America. Which, fair enough to a degree, but to each his own. And then year 3, they ran it back with the title team. Lost in the second round, but like this is the first year that Joe's got serious adversity to work with. No Tatum, 0 centers, and Peyton Pritchard's your starting point guard, where I've always felt like he was better suited to come off the bench, and we'll see how that works out. That's one of my storylines of the year. Jalen playmaker, Joe Mazzulla, is he like, I don't want to call him man or mouse, because I also don't think if they suck this year, I'm going to chalk that up to Mazzulla being a bad coach. I'm going to chalk it up to this being a deeply, deeply flawed roster. But if they're good, it kind of cements him as like a top 3 to 5 coach in the sport. Like if they somehow fuck around and they're the 3 seed, which they won't be, but they could. Like again, the East is terrible. He might people might have to admit that he is just better than Ime.
Yeah, and it's been like a steady progression over time because like his first season, yeah, there was some rough patches of Mazzulla coaching. I mean, everyone clowns on the lack of timeouts, and correctly so. There were points where he was just letting guys flounder, and it was like, you have like 7 of them left, Joe. Like you don't
He's
have.
like, I'm good.
But, he's really, really improved over time, and he's just getting better every single season, both in terms of like in-game adjustments. And obviously, like he's like Brad's chosen son from everything we've heard, that like he's been Brad's pet project going back to when Brad was still head coach. And totally, if this team is like playing better than, I mean, no one really expects that much out of them. But if they are like a team that gets home court in the playoffs this season, with no expectations, losing Holiday, losing Porzingis, getting like 20 games out of Tatum if you're lucky. Yeah, you have to say this guy's one of the 3 to 4 best coaches in the world. He's catching Spoelstra is going to be hard, but I mean, there aren't a lot of good coaches anymore. So it's like it's totally within reach.
It's hard to gauge what a good coach looks like too, because guys get fired so quickly. Like,
and it's such a player-driven league.
Yeah. Like I think Mike Brown's a fantastic coach, but he gets fired like that's his job. Like he gets paid to get fired.
Yeah.
But I think he's a great coach, but he's never sticks around anywhere very long. And like Sacramento fired him. Like what did the Kings do to make Mike Brown's life easier? They literally traded Tyrese Halliburton.
They built the Chicago Bulls.
They did. Yeah. They did.
They were
built the Chicago Bulls. And then they fired Mike Brown for it. Like I don't know. I mean, we determine how good somebody is at coaching based on wins and losses. Like I don't know. Maybe my first hot take of hopefully not a whole ton of them. I don't really know if I think Steve Kerr is a very good coach either. I mean, Luke Walton went 39-4 that year with the super team Warriors. He had a better record with that Warriors team than Steve Kerr did. And Luke Walton, I think, is a horrible coach. And I'm not like I don't know, like
another Sacramento King.
Yeah, and he got the Kings exactly. I don't know what necessarily makes a good coach, and if the Celtics are just bombing away threes and they're shooting them at like a 38% clip and they're taking 60 a night, and that's how they win. I don't know, is that good coaching or is that just the guys they have on the team? Everybody on the team shoots. I don't think there's a guy on the floor on the roster that is fully incapable of shooting a 3-pointer.
Kata, right?
Yeah. Kata. But Kata even shoots threes in like FIBA. Like every offseason, whenever he's playing international ball, he's like bombing away threes as well. We've just never seen him take one actually in an NBA game. So
well,
I guess
like what he gets out of those guys, we talked about like Simmons, not like the bottom rush guys, like not Pritchard, White, Brown, like how those guys do.
Yeah, and what's his leash looking like with them? I think it's got to be on the longer side early. It's got to be on the longer side early. I mean, I don't know. I'm looking at the lineups, like what the lineup is going to look like on opening night. I do think it's what we saw against Cleveland. I think that'll be the opening night lineup. And it was Pritchard, White, Brown, Hauser, Boucher. And like super quick hook on Boucher if he's like a trash can, whether it be defensively or rebounding or whatever it might be. And then like that's going to be, 4/5 of the lineup all year. I don't know how long you can have Hauser start before it ends up being like Minot or Xavier Tillman. Like it's really kind of gross.
The Jordan Walsh era.
No. Baylor Shireman might get starts this year. Like this is where we're at from a front court standpoint. But the East is so bad. This team still might be like the 4th best team in the conference without Tatum.
Yeah, because like I was thinking about it, it's like I was kind of going through it because when we were saying like what teams are better, like it's like in the West, it's like you could rattle off like 8-9 teams so fast that are so clearly better than the Celtics. Where you have like OKC, Denver, you have both LA teams, you got the Rockets, you got Minnesota, you got Golden State, you got Dallas. probably San Antonio. It's like there's so many teams that are so much better than the Celtics, and it's like we're just so lucky to be in a conference full of idiots.
Yeah. Although I wonder, like, because obviously these games are going to be so matchup based. I do wonder if those the Western Conference record is probably going to determine where the Celtics finish in the East. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know. Like, I think other Eastern teams the Celtics are better than in the Eastern Conference are better equipped to beat Western Conference teams than the Celtics are. So like if you could beat up on, Philly and Milwaukee, which you may not beat up on Milwaukee because they've still got Giannis, but like you could beat up on Philly and Miami
Charlotte.
and Indiana and Charlotte, but like those teams might be better equipped to steal one from maybe not Denver or OKC, but like Memphis. You may not be able to beat Memphis. I mean, you probably could. I don't think Memphis is all that good. They might be in crash and burn territory as well. Like we're like looking at the deadline. That's a team that I might be looking at if I'm Brad Stevens as like, do you really want to keep Jaren Jackson Jr. with your so you can perpetually be the Bulls, or you want Anthony Simons, like for the rest of this season, and then you can reset in the offseason.
God, if you could, I don't know how to make the salaries work there, but that would really
But they
make
can, but they can combine contracts because they're under the second apron, so
yeah,
they don't
no,
have to.
I hear you. Trust me. If there was a way to get Jaren Jackson onto this team, my ears are wide open.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just think those teams in the top 6 of the West, especially, I don't know if the Celtics they'll steal a game or two from them, but I don't know if they'll be able to play 500 ball against those teams. Whereas teams that'll be jockeying for similar position in the standings, whether it be Philly or Milwaukee or Indiana, better equipped to do so. Like you're going to put a ton of pressure on Jaylen Brown to have to score 30 plus in that given night. And like, I don't know. I just think I trust the idiocy of somebody like Benedict Mathurin to go and be dumb and somehow score 35 against like the Warriors over Jaylen Brown, unless the Warriors decide to sag off Jaylen again and let him, spray 10 wide open threes in the first quarter like they did last year. But yeah, they'll still finish it in that range of teams in the East.
What do you guys think? If you could predict like Pritchard's numbers at the end of the year, what do you think those averages are going to look like?
Jack?
God. What did he finish at points this year? Was it 16 or 15? What was it? It was 14.
One sec.
It was 14.3 on 41% from three. I'll say like an increase to like 16, 17 a game. I think the efficiency goes down a little just because he's being required to do more, but it'll still be good. I'll say like a 38.5% from three. The free throw percentage at 85, that's who he is. That sounds right. I'll say like 4 rebounds, 5 assists, something like that.
I think Pritchard will. Yeah, I'm in a similar boat. I think he'll probably finish in the 16, 17 points per game range. That like just naturally he's going to get more points because of more volume. The main question that I'm curious to see how it unfolds is who is their number 2 scorer behind Jaylen? Like it should theoretically should be Derek, but I don't know if it will be. Like I think Pritchard's just going to take more shots because he'll have the ball more. And I don't know if I trust. I don't know if
Simons. Like I would not be surprised if Simons is second on the team scoring, assuming he plays the full season here, which is obviously a big if. But if he does, I could see him being second on the team at scoring.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that. I just learned that Hugo Gonzalez was born in 2006, and I'm very upset.
Oh, gonna crash out.
But yeah, it might be Simons, and coming off the bench. I mean, the 6th man of the year last year was Pritchard at 14 points a game, and I think like all those 6th man of the year guys were in that ballpark. But Simons might, like Jason Terry back in the olden days of 2011, getting like 34 minutes a night as a 6th man. Lou Williams, like I could see him spring like 18 to 20 a game off the bench. Who would be the number 2 scorer off the bench? That's the question. Be
Christ.
like 7 guys tied with 0.
Minot with 3 a game.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I
Keita,
feel
that'd
like
probably be
it's
Keita.
probably Garza or Keita, but like, God help us.
Yeah. Freaking I wish Nimi was as fun as to watch play as he is like an idea. Like the idea of Neemias Queta is so fun, but like the actual practice of Neemias Queta, like every team in Boston's got that guy where it's like I love the idea. Like the concept of this guy is awesome. Who he is very not awesome. Nimi in small doses is awesome. But the way he's going to have to be deployed this year, I don't love it. Yeah, this front court room is a yikes, man. Keita's the only one that's just got a center designation. Then Garza, and then we're looking at Amari
Tillman doesn't?
Williams, Josh Minot. Tillman is just a forward. I mean, Tillman's only 6'8".
Yeah, I guess that's true. It's just he feels like a center, which I know vibes are not how we we designate this stuff, but
Tillman also looks like he's 40, but he's 27.
I loved
26
that trade
actually.
when they got Tillman. When they got Tillman, I was like, oh, we got our baby Al. We will teach him the dark arts of becoming Al Horford. And then he hit that 3 in the finals against Dallas, and I thought the transformation was complete when he hit that corner 3. I was like, he has taken Al Horford's life essence. We will reign for 1,000 years, and then last year happens.
Although he was hurt last year, so like
He was,
I'll cut
but
him a
it
little.
was
I'll cut him a
ugly.
little bit of slack.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was not playable at all. It was funny, like talking about that 3-point shot specifically, and he shot 24% from the floor last year. Overall, not just from
That's
3. From 3, it was
that's
15%.
That's painful.
yeah.
24.5% from the floor last year. That is crazy. He played 33 games somehow. I don't remember any of them.
But in the 2024 playoffs, he shot 100% from 3. And
So he's
that's
hot.
what I remember.
We just have
So
to bring
he is
that
hot.
back. How many rebounds
I
did
do
he
think
average?
per game last year was it 0.3? 1.3. 1.3 rebounds and 0.2 assists on 24.5, 15.6, 75% splits.
That's gross.
That is one of the shooting lines I've seen in my lifetime.
Yeah.
That is a lore accurate Marcus Smart shooting line.
This is like looking at the Connor Wong baseball reference page. This isn't good.
Oh, that hurts. That hurts.
Yeah, this is how it's going to be on February 20th when we're trying to talk ourselves into Connor Wong being a player on the team next year. But that's Xavier Tillman. But he's going to get opportunities. I do think it'll be, again, fascinating to see. I think it'll be Boucher. I think the Cleveland game was this is our starting lineup on opening night. I think that's what it's going to be. Boucher's looked the best of all the bigs in the preseason to begin with, so I think he's just going to get the first crack at it. Plus, he's got the collegiate experience with Pritchard, so there's a little bit of rapport there, even if there isn't any rapport with anybody else on the team. I think that's going to factor into that decision. It's just who's the first big off the bench. It's Ben Garza a lot of the time, but I think maybe it'll be Keita because of the continuity within the system. But also, I guess we'll see what the situation presents. They need somebody to come in and start shooting threes, because if so, then it's definitely not Keita. Might be Minot. Maybe it's even Tillman in that sense. But the center situation. I've been trying to downplay it all summer that it's not as big a deal as it is. And then now reading it, I'm like, oh, right. That's bad.
Yeah, I'm going to miss Cornette.
Yeah. Oh, how the
'Cause I
mighty have
still-
fallen.
Maybe I'm just, delusional because I tend to be. Part of me still thinks if Cornette had been getting those Porzingis minutes earlier in the Knicks series, then like it eventually ended up happening. They win the finals last year. Like, and I know maybe I'm just on crack, but I really do feel that in my heart that this team, giving Kornet those minutes instead of Porzingis, they would have won the finals, and the Tatum injury would have been avoided, and everything would have been fine. And we would have had more duck boats, and I could have gone because I was in LA for last duck boats. And instead, Tatum died, and Porzingis, we still don't know what was wrong with him, and darkest timeline.
Yeah. It's but I mean I totally understand why they kept running Kristaps out there because they kind of
I
had to.
get it. I get it. It's just like it was so bad.
It was. Like it got to the point where I thought Xavier Tillman might provide more
Yeah.
in a game than Kristaps. It sucks, but now he's an Atlanta Hawk where he's gonna probably take 7 to 8 threes a game. He is going to love the volume he gets in Atlanta. Like him and Trae
As long as
Young
he's
is going to be
choosing.
fun.
Because like my one concern is like I just hope this doesn't turn into Dallas again, where you have a ball dominant guard and they stick Porzingis in the corner and don't do anything fun with him, because that defeats the purpose of having a Porzingis, and that's what Dallas did. And I hope Atlanta doesn't fall into that trap. Use him; he's so skilled and so talented. He can do so many things. Do not just stick him in the corner.
How's he looked in the preseason for them? Have you?
I haven't watched anything, admittedly, but
Yeah, and they don't have Capella anymore, right? So he's their starting center.
He's gone. So it's going to be him and Okongwu.
Is he still there? Yeah, he is still there. Okay.
Oh, he is?
So yeah, that's gonna be the front court. No, I'm talking about Okongwu. I couldn't find him on their roster. Dyson Daniels and Onyeka Okongwu are the same height. That's insane.
That's crazy, actually.
That is absolutely nuts. Yeah, I think that'll work. I think Luka is a special case because he's ball dominant. Like Trae Young, I think loves passing the ball, not as much as he loves shooting, obviously. But I think Trae Young actually really loves passing the ball. I think Luka does it because of what the stat line will say at the end of the day when he passes the ball. He's like, oh, I can get assists if I pass it to a dude who's wide open. And I'm not doing it because I want to pass. I'm doing it because it'll make the
And also,
better.
I just have confidence that Quinn Snyder is a way better basketball coach than Jason Kidd. And so he probably will realize, who just got extended today, by the way. Good luck, Dallas, with that, extending Jason Kidd today, because I do not think he's particularly good at his job, but he keeps getting them.
How long was that extension?
I don't remember. Let me see. Because I know in basketball, sometimes it doesn't even say how long the extension is.
Yeah, we just have to guess. And it's like, oh, he got fired, so he probably had this year.
Yeah, it literally just has a multi-year extension. Which
I feel like that's always I feel like that's typically just 2. Like it's just 2 years. When it's multi-year, it's 2. If it's more than 2, they'll just say how many years it is.
But his contract was already up after next year, so I guess it functionally is 4 years of Kidd, which, sorry, Cooper Flag, you deserve better than that.
He looks good. He looks really good.
I've been yelled at so many times by my Mavs fan friends for saying you're in way better hands with Cooper Flag than you were with Luka, because that feels like blasphemous to them. But I believe it in my heart because Cooper Flag will be in shape and play defense. 2 things that Luka does not want to do.
It makes me angry, though, how Dallas got rewarded for trading Luka.
Totally. It never should have happened. They accidentally come out fine when they shouldn't have. But I do think I would rather have Flag and Davis than one Luka.
As crazy as that sounds, I think I agree with you. But like, there's no like, I cannot believe Nico fucking like got away with it. Like he really, like winning the lottery might have legitimately saved that man's job. Like if they got the 7th pick in the draft, who even was the 7th pick in the draft this year? I'm gonna look because I remember it wasn't a super deep draft as it was.
It might have been like Jeremiah Fears. That sounds like around the Fears range.
Let me see who was drafted. Oh, Cooper Flagg was also born in 2006. I hate
Makes
that
me
so
feel
much.
old.
Yeah, did you see that video of him like with opening that pack of cards and he didn't know who like Ilgauskas was? And it was like, oh, that makes me
Oh,
feel
even I know who Big Z is.
yeah.
Yeah,
Cavs
Jeremiah Fears was the 7th overall pick.
Wow, I really nailed that dart throw.
Yeah.
that was perfect right there.
You really did. That's horrifying. Quick, who went 17th?
First name that comes to mind.
I don't even know 17. Was that where I feel like that was one of the Brooklyn Nets picks or something at 17. That feels like a Brooklyn Nets pick. Was that the Israeli guy they took? I forgot his name.
He went 26th, Ben Saraf.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went 26th. Number 17 was Joan Beringer to Minnesota.
Oh, of course it was.
Yeah. just wanted to see if you were cheating, and two, if you were just insane like that. And we didn't even talk about the Celtics draft class at all. And maybe we can touch on that real quick before wrapping this up. But like, the Celtics had 3 picks in the draft this year. Amani Williams, or was he an undrafted guy? He was undrafted, it appears. But Noah Penda, 32nd overall, and Ugo Gonzalez, 28th overall.
No,
I
Amari
think
Williams
we're
was
doing
second pick, 46th overall.
and then the Celtics traded for him. He was Orlando's pick initially. But I think we're doing the Fell for It Again award with Ugo Gonzalez. At least maybe it's just PTSD, but like we do this with every first round pick the Celtics get, and we're like, oh, he's actually really good, and then he isn't. I think the last time we did that and got lucky was Pritchard, actually, in 2020, right? Who else did they draft that year? I know they had 2 first rounders in 2020, right? Yeah, it was Pritchard and it was who else did they take in 2020 that played a lot? Grant was 19.
Oh god, that's the year they had the Desmond Bane pick and traded it.
Yeah. Yep. But they got Pritchard out of it, and Pritchard's been good, so I guess we can chalk that one up to the game.
Yeah, but I'd like to have both, please.
That would be pretty cool. It would be that's what I mean when I say that it'd be nice if you have to offload all this salary and you have good first round picks to hand the keys to. I mean, you got Pritchard, but like as much as I love Peyton, I don't know if I love him more than I would love Desmond Bane on the team because he's just better.
Or have both because you could have had
or
both.
have both. Or have both because you could have had both. Exactly. Or you could have traded Desmond Bane when he was good and gotten somebody good for Desmond Bane, like maybe a center. Who knows? Like maybe you could have gotten Walker Kessler before.
Centers are overrated, apparently.
Yeah, we don't like centers here. Joe Mazzulla also doesn't know who Zydrunas Ilgauskas is. No clue. Yao Ming, who the hell is that guy? We don't like centers here.
I just can't wait for like the Joe quotes from press conferences with him just completely serious. I can't wait for those.
Oh, did you see him hit him going off? It was either yesterday or 2 days ago, that like meltdown he had when they were asking him like about his like offensive strategy, about like shooting with how much they're going to play a faster tempo this year. And he just was like, our mindset has been the same mindset since the day I was hired. You guys have been asking me this question for 3 years now. My answer has been the same for 3 years now, and it will be the same for as long as I am the head coach of this team. You need to stop asking me these questions because it's the same answer. I'm going to just stop answering it.
I love that, man. I think
Joe.
that's the one thing. Like, regardless of what happens this year, we know we're going to get some classic Joe moments, whether they're good or bad, but they're good.
Yeah. No one provides a soundbite like Joe Mazzulla.
I'm curious. I want to see what his press conference is after like a 3-game losing streak, or like a 5-game losing streak. Like, because I know there's like with the state of this roster, there's going to be a 5-game losing streak,
totally.
and I'm saying that now because I want to like put that in the. I know it's going to happen. I don't want to be surprised when it happens, so I'm saying it now. I'm curious what his what his press conference is going to be after that 5th game. Better yet,
the
when
team
the
viewing of the town is going to go crazy.
Better yet, though, what is his press conference going to be after the losing streak is snapped?
We're gonna get like a Belichick response.
He might kill somebody.
Well, no, because he's gonna just be like, "I'm glad we're losing. I'm glad we're losing." Like that's because that's who he is. Like he's gonna do that.
I want to lose some more.
He's like, I want double digits. Let's get this to 10 games.
If we're gonna be the
Gaslighting
best
us
at
into
nothing,
thinking
you might as well be the best at losing. Like
that is going to be something he says. That is going to be verbatim a quote of Joe Mazzulla's this year. If we're not going to be the best at anything, we may as well be the best at losing, says Joe Mazzulla after a 7-game losing streak in like mid-December.
Oh, I love him.
He's a sick fuck. It's great. It's so great. I love him so much more than Ime. Even before Ime was a creeper, even before we found that out. Like Joe now better than peak Ime. Ime was just a dick. But like Grant Williams was kept in line, which is like the only thing Ime Udoka did that I'm okay with, was it kept Grant Williams for being Grant Williams.
That takes talent to do that.
Yeah, seriously. You guys are playing like assholes. And Grant Williams is like, you know what? You're right. We are playing like assholes. And then when Joe Mazzulla says it to him, he's like, I love being an asshole. Let me be single-handedly the reason we lose to Miami. Dick. I've never done such a like leapfrog opinion on a player quite like Grant Williams. Like I didn't like the pick. Then he actually started being good, and I'm like, oh, he's good. I love Grant Williams. And then he realized he was good, and then started pretending he was a star. And I'm like, I hate this guy like so much.
Being PJ Tucker leads to a very good NBA career. And if he realized just being PJ Tucker could lead to a long, successful, financially stable career, it would have been fine. But he wanted to be an all-star. He's not an all-star. He was PJ Tucker.
Yeah, remember didn't he like tear his knee up last year? I think the broadcaster of Milwaukee said he was flopping as he like shredded his knee. Like, oh, what a flop. And like the next day it came out that his repair multiple tears in his knee, including the ACL. So he'll be out for probably the entire year. If not, he'll play probably as much as Tatum does this year, like the last 10 or so games. But no. Actually, no, 9 to 12 months recovery time. So he actually should be back around the All-Star break. Now that I'm looking at it. But
if the Hornets suck, they might just waive him at that point. I mean, I don't know how much longer is on that contract, but it's like,
would you bring him back?
Want to deal with a rehabbing Grant Williams? I know they're the Hornets and nothing matters anyways, but
how much money is he making? I know the Mavericks gave him like an absurd contract.
This year, 14 next year. So there's another year. And granted, they could stretch the contract out if they waived him, but like, I guess maybe you do just keep him and try to trade him as an expiring after the year. But also you're the Hornets. So what are you acquiring with your expiring contracts? You suck. So
yeah, I mean, if there's one thing that we can count on the Hornets to do, it's to completely bungle any situation imaginable when it comes to moving a player, like Mark Williams last year.
Yeah.
They somehow kept him. Like he was a Laker, and then they somehow had him again. I'm not even like fully aware of what all transpired there. Did they just like lie about his injury and then he just wasn't a Laker anymore after he'd already been traded for Dalton Connect? Like that was a good trade for them. And then somehow they ended up with him again without getting Dalton Connect at any point.
Yeah, and then they traded him to Phoenix.
Yeah. For who again?
Liam McNeely and then another pick. And Grant McNeely was a good player at UConn, but
I'd probably rather have Dalton Connect.
I don't know if it's true. I don't know if you've seen those posts that apparently like no team actually wants Connect, which is really funny if true. Like I've been seeing a lot of that recently, that like the Lakers would need to like attach stuff to Connect to move him because no one wants him.
Is he just like a dick? Like, what's
I don't know
the?
what it is. Like I've seen like multiple sources say that though, and it's like that's. I mean, he was
He
obviously
shot
a great player at
38% from
Tennessee.
3 last year. Yeah, I mean, he shot the lights out last year as a rookie. And yeah, well, rip. I also can't believe the Lakers got thrown the lifeline of Luka now that LeBron is in maybe his last year. Like they drafted Bronny. They had a decrepit roster, and then Nico Harrison's like, here is Luka Doncic. Thumbs up.
Have fun.
Brutal.
It did kill any chance of them winning. They punted last season's title to make that trade, though. And granted, I don't think they would have won had they kept Davis, but they were closer to a championship last year with Davis than with Luka.
That's true.
Yeah. How are they, I don't even know how they're gonna do this season. But
it's just gonna be weird seeing Smart in a Lakers jersey. That makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, I hate it with like every fiber of my being that Marcus Smart is they have Anton Watson. Celtics draft pick legend, Anton Watson. And then obviously DeAndre Ayton. And Christian Coloco is back up in college. To the University of Arizona Lakers. Was that graphic, that quote graphic about that of Ayton's correct, where they asked him about working with LeBron and Luka, and he's like, I haven't. Like, brother, you're like 3 games into the preseason, you've still yet to work with those guys. Like, they're only 2/4 of the guys you're going to be playing with on the floor at any given moment. But hey, you haven't worked with them yet.
He's just like, I'll get to that at some point.
He is what, he is what Nikola Jokic acts like he plays, like the way Nikola Jokic acts. Like, DeAndre Ayton hates basketball and then like also just doesn't play the sport.
Yeah.
Like, remember last year where he didn't show up to a game because he didn't want to shovel the ice out of his driveway? He's like, I'm not gonna go. That's like how I am with work sometimes.
No, I mean, Grant, I know Phoenix is a disaster organization who mishandled everything, but when they were so willing to just kind of give him away, like, you knew something was up there. That, like, even as horribly run as Phoenix is with the Durant trade, which they never should have made, even at the time, I thought that was an insane move to make. But like, just giving away DeAndre Ayton, who was a number 1 overall pick and like a consistent like 18-9 guy, for pretty much nothing, and expiring Nurkic. There had to be smoke there.
Yeah, it's crazy too, because they also fired Monty Williams, who hated DeAndre Ayton. So they just hated everybody. Matt Ishbia went in and was like, I got to make a sexy move immediately. And that's why they traded for Durant. Like, he was like, I'm going to come in and I'm going to make everybody in Phoenix love me.
Yeah.
And that's why Durant got traded there. That was like one thing I was worried about with Chisholm.
Yeah, the Beal trade didn't work at all, but I understood the thought process behind it of Chris Paul is 1,000,000 years old and Bradley Beal is a 25 point per game guy. Sure, made sense, worked horribly, but it was the correct process, wrong results. The Durant trade never made any sense.
Yeah, getting rid of McHale and Cam Johnson and picks.
And 1,000,000 picks.
Yeah. And they won, one playoff round?
Yeah.
That's got to be up there for like all-time bad trades as far as just the end result. I think Suns fans honestly still prefer the timeline that they got, like getting Durant, because they don't ever get players like that.
That's fair.
They don't sign those guys. They don't ever trade for those guys. Like,
they had Shaq for a minute.
they did trade for they did sign Shaq in 2010 when he was 104. And then he was better, or no, he was an all-star that one year with Phoenix.
Because nothing says the 7 seconds or less offense like 1,000,000-year-old Shaq.
It's where he thrives.
Yeah. God. But They don't get those guys when they're like still at the peak of their performance. Shaq was very much not, especially at the peak of his physique. But that market just doesn't get those kinds of players. So I think getting Durant, they were thrilled for that. And then getting Beal, I think they were pretty excited about that as well. But yeah, things don't work out ever for the Arizona market, it appears. They get Kyler Murray for $50 million a year for him to play Call of Duty and do worse than Jacoby Brissett. And then they lose their hockey team
to Utah.
To freaking Utah.
But I didn't even know until like literally a week ago, not to get completely off topic here. But
I think we're already there.
We're getting every sport in.
Yeah. I didn't realize that legally the Mammoth are not a relocated Coyotes and that they're legally an expansion team that just has all the coaches and players of the Coyotes, so that if the Coyote come back later, they were never abolished or relocated. And like I found this out like a week ago. I was like, what do you mean they relocated? It's all the same players and coaches and ownership. Like it's the Coyotes. But
yeah, how do you
legally,
get an expansion team, but the amount of teams in the league stays the exact same?
Like that broke my brain when I was reading that because I'm like, that's not true. You're lying to me.
This is very much a gaslighting situation. But I do think the Coyotes are coming back, like in the next couple,
And so
because
I
they're
guess
talking
that
about
was the
expanding to
thought process.
36 teams.
Yeah.
And Phoenix would be getting a team again.
Right.
Would they be getting the Arizona State Arena again, like they did their last year? I might move back out there if that's
because
the case.
like we've seen obviously like the Browns situation where like the Browns relocated to Baltimore, but then just there were now a new Cleveland Browns, but no one called Baltimore an expansion team. Like no, the Browns were legally the expansion team, but somehow Utah is an expansion team despite not at all being an expansion team.
Yeah, no draft. They just get all the Coyote players, all their coaches, but expansion team by definition. Makes no sense, but it makes all the sense in the world if you want it to.
That's the NHL for you. They can't market and they can't do expansion teams right.
But they did like 4 years ago.
Yeah,
5 years, or it was a while.
Vegas and Seattle went swimmingly.
Yeah, both those processes were great. And then it's like, hey, let's make an expansion team that isn't an expansion team, but we're going to tell everybody it is. I think it's because people liked it so much. They're like, let's just call the Utah Mammoth an
But there was no
expansion
draft.
Yeah, no expansion draft. But that's like you're throwing your fan bases a bone because you don't lose any of your players, but you still get to say there was another expansion team added. Which, like, whatever would the Bruins do without Mason Lohrei? But that's beside the point. It's besides maybe win some hockey games. Who knows? Anyway, do we want to talk about the Patriots before we wrap up the Celtics podcast?
First place in the AFC East.
I mean, MVP Drake May.
Yeah. There we go. We've covered all of our bases here, and there we go. Covering bases. There's your baseball talk. Even though we've talked,
not to give more gambling advice, but at plus 4,000, Sam Darnold MVP is very juicy at plus 4,000.
Hashtag not gambling advice, but worth mentioning. What's Drake May's odds at? I've been meaning to check.
Isn't he like 6? Wasn't he like 6 for MVP odds?
Oh, I like that. Not because I'm going to bet on it, because I'm tired of giving my money to sports books. At least until the next time I do it. And it might be that. Maybe I'll wait one more week. If Drake May balls out next week against Tennessee, which he should, because Tennessee is a trash can, then maybe
they don't even have a coach.
Yeah, they don't even have a coach. They're going to let Mike Vrabel coach them as well as the Patriots. An expansion coach, Mike Vrabel. Anyway, this is falling off the rails.
It's only the first episode.
Only the first episode. But yeah, any final thoughts before we actually wrap this up?
Just happy basketball is almost back.
Yeah.
Yeah, preseason finale tomorrow. Well, I guess today at the time of y'all listening to this. If you've made it this far, I'm sorry. Very sorry for the direction this went in the last 10 minutes. But also, you deserve to know that the Utah Mammoth are, by definition, an expansion team. So
think of how informed the listener base will be.
yeah, exactly. We got to make sure everybody is in the
This is
know
an
on it.
educational program.
Yeah. Then they said that friggin' this stuff can't be educational. Shit posting isn't educational, but it is.
Got a
It
little
is.
betting advice in there too,
Yeah, exactly. Got to bet Sam Darnold plus 4,000, but this is not gambling advice. This is not gambling advice. But yeah, preseason finale today, I guess, technically, for those listening. Against, is it Toronto again?
That sounds
And
right.
then and then off into the regular season. We'll see what the lineup is. I reckon that it's going to probably be a lot of guys in the bubble getting most of the playing time. We're going to see a lot of Baylor Shiremen. So if that offends you, do not watch. But anyway, we're not going to get Baylor Shireman on the show, but we might get Josh Minot. Who knows? We'll see. Why not Minot? Anyway,
RJ Lewis or nothing.
RJ Lewis, yeah. Anyway, George's Niang, anybody?
I really want to talk to RJ Lewis about what the hell happened that last game of March Madness is the thing. Like, oh my God.
But anyway, that'll do it for this edition of the Auerbach Report. Again, episode 1 for Jamie and Jack. I'm Jordan. Until next time, peace out. Go Seas.
We did it.